Reloading for the 30 carbine, M130 carbine. I started making a video on this, and I guess I erased the footage because I was breaking it up, waiting for a crimp die and some other things. So I'm going to redo it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you how to use this RCBS 3-die set. It's an older set. I've had it for a while. Carbide sizing die. I'll explain to you how this 3-die straight wall case set works, a little bit different than a standard die set. And in this video, I'll just take you through the high points. I'm not going to sit there and pump the ammo out. I'll explain to you how it works. And then in a members video, I'll do the load development where we go over the powder and all that other fun stuff and take it out, run it on a chrono, and then figure out what a good load is and the load data for that load. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, been a lot of years since I reloaded for the M1 carbine. I tried using cast bullets. I found they don't work well, so I kind of refrained from it. And actually I had the ammo and I never really shot the gun that much to where I did a lot of reloading for this. But now times have changed. So I had these old RCBS dies. And this is a 3-die set, and it gives you in the instruction booklet, it explains to them for straight wall type rifle and pistol cases. This particular die set from the stampings on it was made in 1980. Okay, and where this is a little bit different than your standard handgun reloading die set, you have a sizing die right here. There's no decapping pin in it. And this, the way it is the old-fashioned carbide sizers. Okay, and this one actually has a nice chamfer. I have an older 357 Magnum that didn't have that taper on there, and it's quite difficult to use, but still works. And how this would work, and it shows you in the diagram there, and it gives you the instructions, is you just run the case up the die. And with our CBS number 17 shell holders, what you use. Now what you would do with this is you screw it in until it touches the shell holder, you know, like normal. And when you run this up, it will size the case and not deprime it. So this case has been resized. You can see a little where it went up to the edge of the case, and this is way tapered. Now the second die, and this is the one that's kind of tricky to install. If you notice, there's this wide mouth there, and that pin protrudes quite a bit. But what this does is, like you see in the photograph, you go up into that second die, and it's got a tapered expanding plug and a decapping pin. And how you would set this, it does give you instructions if you still have it in there. Okay, going by the instructions, like I said here, you just put the expander to where it touches the shell holder, and you just size your case. Now this thing's a little bit different. I didn't quite do this. I left it where it was set, but it appears to back off. They tell you to run this down until it touches. And you got two ways of doing it. The way this is, the way this came from the factory, you have to loosen this and then back that out a distance. Run this down till it touches the shell holder. And then once you set the die, per se, with your lock ring, I'd back this plug out all the way. You know, like this, backing this plug out. Then what you would do is once you're touching, lower the plug and keep going until you deprime the case, number one, and you're going to keep going up the expander, and you just expand to where you get the base of the bullet to just fit. In other words, so the base goes in without catching the rim. That's how you want to adjust that second die. And that's how you do it. It's kind of tricky. But if you do have the instructions, so remember, back that all the way out until you're getting it to where it decaps. Okay, you might if it's stuck, just give it a little turn until it pops the primer out. But you are going to have to go a ways up until you get it. But that's how you set and adjust this. This is just a standard seating plug, probably with a crimp in it, be it a taper crimp or a roll crimp. I haven't investigated. In the old days, I used to seat and crimp at the same time, but that, you know, they tell you to do that. But I don't. I do it in two separate operations. I found that seating and crimping could have some non-uniform. It's not as precise or give you good results. So what I would do with this is run this up till it touches the crimp part, back it off, seat the bullet once, you know, it's got a primer and a powder charge. Then what I did is I went and got a Lee factory crimp die, okay, and this is one of them collet ones. And then what you would do is set this to where when this base touches, this here compresses the collet, and we'll put a collet crimp, which I like this crimp a lot better. Some things you would want to roll crimp, okay, but this here saves you a hassle. You set your 3 dies, size, deprime, expand, put the primer in, load the charge, seat the bullet to the correct depth. There will still be a flare, and use this Lee crimp die, and you got it. So that's the die set we're going to use. And like I showed you, okay, this here, when you look at this, when you run it through the side, you can see it's tapered back. The bullet will not fit in there. And also, if you went to seat it, you know, it would be difficult to seat the bullet. It won't go in. So you need to run that little expander die so you can drop your bullet in there so it's held in place. But still, that's flared, so you got to take that flare out, and I like using the crimp die. So that's a basic explanation for that, and that's how this 3 die set kind of works, a little bit different. You know, you do have the instructions for the seating. It says without crimping and bullets with crimping. But like I said, I just seat with it and then use that other die, you know, for the, I don't know how much, 10, 20 bucks. It makes the whole process easier. And if you had a turret press or a progressive setup, that would probably be the best way to set it. You know, I do all this single stage. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and work on it. And then, you know, once I get these done like this, I'm going to give them a wet tumble, then let them dry out, and then it's just prime them, charge them, put the bullet on there, seat them, and then crimp them. Okay? I really kind of, you know, you should be that well advanced to understand this video and go about finishing the product. But I may get, just to be on the safe side, one of those case checkers, ammunition checkers, you know, like one of these the Lyman makes. This is for handguns. I have one for when I do a lot of ammo, especially using military brass. These come in handy so you can check and make sure that the brass is being sized correctly, or the finish thing when you put the crimp on in that, they go in there flush. That means you got a good cartridge, it should chamber in your gun with no problem. That may be another thing to pick up along the way. Alright guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned.